I do think that there's some potential for what Tesla markets as full self-driving to be a more meaningful contributor to their business in China.
Will these vehicles generate the same type of excitement we've seen for other high volume vehicles in the past, such as, of course, the Model 3 and the Model Y?
And given the current pace of production and sales, it seems unlikely that they will be able to meet the current street expectations.
With full self-driving, they will have an entire ROBOTAXI business that you can put your car in, your Tesla in, whenever you choose to do it, or take it out.
All that and more. So let's get to it. Tesla stock is up in the pre-market about 0.25%, sitting at $187.90. That's about a 5% increase from Monday's activity. For the past 7 days, Tesla is up over 8%. Still a long way from the losses year to date of around 25%.
How important is this for FSD? How important is this for the Tesla business model?
It's an incremental step, and I do think that there's some potential for what Tesla markets as full self-driving to be a more meaningful contributor to their business in China, which they could really use at the moment. But what we don't know is just how long it's going to take them to be able to offer this more widely.
Considering no one is doing autonomous driving quite like Tesla is, the expectations of the Chinese government might need to be tempered quite a bit. Assuming that FSD in China is going to be quite similar to the FSD here in the United States, it'll still be supervised. So unless they're doing something that is of an unsupervised nature, which I suppose is possible, but I highly doubt, I do find it odd that Tesla had to go through some regulatory hurdles if they're going to use the same FSD that we use over here.
We're not necessarily seeing China take the same sort of hands-off approach that we've seen in the US, where they've been able to offer FSD nationwide, and it wasn't all that much trouble for them to make this available to consumers. On the other hand, in China, they're really going to have to sort of, in piecemeal fashion, hit the sort of tick the boxes that they need to with regulators in order for consumers to be able to activate this.
Men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie. When the software is engaged, you are less likely to be involved in an accident, and as the march of nines continue, the number of miles driven between accidents is only going to get larger, proving the necessity of this software to regulators anywhere in the world is child's play.
Musk predicted that Tesla's Optimus robots could eventually lift the company's market cap to $25 trillion. But what are the other catalysts that Wall Street is watching? I want to start on what you are anticipating based on what we heard from Musk, specifically with regards to new product announcements. Sometimes it's tough to kind of suss out whether or not Musk's approach is necessarily going to prove to come to fruition. What did you make of the teasing out of certain new products to come?
Yeah, there is a lot of anticipation for the next round of new products from Tesla. Last quarter, they did allude to launching more affordable electric vehicles off some of the same platforms they have today and leveraging some of the manufacturing capacity they have today and launching these vehicles next year. There's really two things people are looking for in these vehicles. The first, of course, is the price point, just given that EVs do need to become more affordable and there's certainly opportunity for growth at lower price points. But the second thing that we're particularly looking for is really just the overall design and content of these vehicles, because the ultimate question, I think, for investors is going to be that will these vehicles generate the same type of excitement we've seen for other high volume vehicles in the past, such as, of course, the Model 3 and the Model Y? If the answer to that question is yes, we do see scope for sentiment to improve as the focus would then turn to these new products driving additional growth, versus which is really needed just given some of the demand headwinds that both electric vehicles, of course, are seeing around the world, and Tesla specifically is facing given some of the aging out of their current portfolio.
Tesla's auto gross margin for battery electric vehicles is already extremely high, considering the rest of the industry. As they've proven, they can continue to drop the price to keep their demand at these levels. If they really wanted to, probably selling Model 3s around $25,000 is not a far stretch when you consider all the tax credits here in the US and the manufacturing costs over there in China. But as this analyst alluded to before, Tesla hasn't really mastered the unboxed method of manufacturing quite just yet. Well, what do you know? It's a little different to change the way the manufacturing of automobiles has been done for over the past century. Who'd have thought? So the next generation of models is not going to be necessarily as cheap as Tesla would have liked them to be at the moment. But something tells me they're still going to create quite a bit of margin from these vehicles.
Next quarter, next time they report, they're more likely to miss on deliveries than beat.
Yes, like they have been, the analysts have been pulling back their estimates pretty aggressively in over the last year or so, but there's still more fat in there to cut. And given the current pace of production and sales, it seems unlikely that they will be able to meet the current street expectations, which will undoubtedly drop as the months progress. But there is little sign that things are meaningfully turning around for them, and that in itself is going to become a problem that won't just become a quarter-to-quarter problem, but a broader long-term issue is that all the short-terms end up becoming the long-term, and if the short-term growth ceases to materialize, especially not anywhere near the level that they've been led to expect, like which was to have at least 50% growth annually, if you don't have that, the share price, the justification down the line for that share price gradually deteriorates. Right. And that's sort of where we are in the sort of Tesla cycle. It's been preserved for a while because there's this AI story. Musk is supposed to be putting more effort into the company, but these are all more or less narrative and temporary issues when you look at the sort of hard and unforgiving reality of sort of the economics of the automotive industry.
He's not wrong in that. A lot of Tesla's evaluation, especially when it was at almost $400 a share, was with the pretext that they were going to continue to grow 50% annually for the foreseeable future. That has clearly slowed down, but you have to ask yourself why. Low-hanging fruit suggests that nobody wants Teslas anymore. Even the great Elon Musk has to pull back on his production because the demand is not there. It couldn't possibly be that you've made so many battery electric vehicles, you've reached such an economy of scale, that you've conceived of an entirely different way to produce these vehicles that's going to take a little bit of time. A little bit of redirecting of the energies. Sure, you could continue to sell as many Model 3s, Model Ys as you possibly can. I mean, it was the best-selling vehicle of 2023, and according to Elon, going to be the best-selling vehicle of 2024 as well. I suppose you could hang your hat on that. But Tesla has grander ambitions. This is a company that plans to produce 20 million vehicles by the year 2030. They already have the highest gross margin for producing battery electric vehicles, hands down. And if this was a normal company, that would be enough. They would just continue on business as usual. But if you don't disrupt yourself, someone will be glad to do it for you. If you recognize an innovation in manufacturing, you don't just ignore it, you pursue it and try to get there first. That's why there's been a slowdown in production at Tesla, is that they're seeing things that other people that haven't produced this many battery electric vehicles aren't seeing.
Stock has been under pressure.
You know, it's interesting because when we saw him on stage, it was so much excitement about robots and AI, but the core issues for Tesla are in the today. The car making business, metal bashing is tough, and Tesla is in a little bit of a slump here. EVs are not necessarily as exciting this year as they've been in past years for consumers, and Tesla really is kind of going to market with some old vehicles, and so there's concern there that maybe they are on their back foot.
It's really odd that the names of the Tesla vehicles have not changed, but what's inside has gone through a metamorphosis. Implementing new hardware in the vehicles, the over-the-air software updates to improve the software, the performance capabilities of the vehicle, that is happening constantly. The refresh of the Model 3 gives you an entirely new look. These vehicles are the best thing on four wheels. Every time I hear a comment of that nature, I just chuckle inside.
ROBOTAXis. He said that that's basically the heart of the plan, and that they're going to have, with full self-driving, they will have an entire ROBOTAXI business that you can put your car in, your Tesla in, whenever you choose to do it, or take it out. I mean, how far away is that promise?
But it seems like it's pretty far away.
Does it though? I mean, we have a ROBOTAXI unveil on 8/8. A full self-driving software that is end-to-end neural nets. The grandest AI project the world has ever seen. I Imagine a year and a half ago when people were asking, when do you think ChatGPT will do your homework for you? I'm pretty sure the answer was, not anytime soon. And then it just happened.
We don't know everything under the hood, obviously, but we haven't seen any technology that would suggest they're ready to deploy that today.
All I've got to say is, don't blink. You might miss it. In conclusion, Tesla testing FSD over there in Shanghai, it obviously will look a little different than it does over here in the United States, but how long will it take the Chinese regulators to give Tesla the go-ahead to collect as much data to solve this problem as possible? Regardless of all the promises of a grander tomorrow, robots, self-driving cars, Tesla's evaluation comes down to the nuts and bolts of car making. And the truth of the matter is, they're not making nearly as many cars as they said they would. Forget the fact that they've progressed in the mass manufacturing of battery electric vehicles further than anybody on the planet, refuses to be content with the greatest gross automotive margins for battery electric vehicles, constantly achieving what others deem impossible. It's just laughable to think that Tesla, the most popular vehicle manufacturer on the planet, is suffering demand issues from battery electric vehicles just like everyone else. If you believe that, you must be sucking the glass. Tesla's technological and manufacturing dominance has them miles ahead of anybody else producing battery electric vehicles. The performance and functionality of their vehicles is only outmatched by their reliability and their safety features. With 3 new vehicle models on the way, Tesla is poised to capture even more market share. The future of autos is electrified and autonomous. Not only will Tesla have the best autonomous software, they're also going to be the largest producer of automobiles. Now, I'm no mathematician, but there seems to be quite a bit of opportunity in that possibility. That's all I got for you today. Be easy. Peace.